Hello, how are
Rolling, you can go ahead.
Marita, your hair goes with your name, and I have to say, it's super cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, and likewise, it's super cool. It's season two of Blind Spotting, and we get to go and follow your character. And I wanted to see what your personal approach is for covering all these different aspects in the show. I mean, we get to unveil so many important issues that are going on in the world and people's individual lives. And I wanted to see your perspective on how you try to take that in on a personal level.
That's deep. That's heavy. Um, how do I take in like the character on a personal level is what you're saying, or the issues that she deals with?
Both. So the character is going to be taking on these personal issues, and how do you portray that onto the screen and for the viewers while making it a comedy and making it an artful piece?
I mean, like with Trisha's life, right? I've never been a stripper and I've never done anything like that. And Trish operates in survival mode, right? I fortunately haven't had to do that, but I do have family who's incarcerated and I do have family who have that kind of struggle. So really, it's just me having empathy and understanding really what's going on and having, being able to be around people who have that lifestyle, like my family, and I'm able to just study them and like what they go through, ask them questions, and then apply it respectfully rather than appropriating it and making it this big airy thing, and just really being down to earth and understanding what's really going on in the world and what's really going on in the justice system. And I feel like it's really important in order to show that, because people who look like Trish and act like Trish often don't get the opportunities versus those who don't look like Trish or act like her. And I'm hoping with this show that they're going to be able to see that and understand, like, oh, like, well, Trisha's not a bad person. I didn't hire that girl last week because, she looked like that. But what if they're all just doing that? What if they're all just trying to survive and get some money and, work just like all of us? And I'm hoping that this show and watching Trish would be able to change that perspective and change that narrative and allow them to take that leap into hiring people that aren't their normal.
Right. Just taking on that empathy and all those different aspects, right?
Yeah,
Applying
yeah.
it to everything.
Applying it to everything. And even Trish has made me more empathetic and less judgmental, because somebody like Trish, I would see her at a party and I'm like, oh my God, like, be quiet. But understanding and being her, it's like she's coming from a good place. And that's genuinely how it is. And I feel like sometimes people look at that the wrong way and they're like, oh, she's just wanting attention. And it's just like, or she's just being unapologetically herself. And I'm pretty sure you wish you were the life of the party too, girly. Because I do. I wish I was the life of the party, but I'm unfortunately not a Trish.
Right. So we're just all understanding these misinterpretations that happen throughout the series. And
Mhm.
that's what encapsulates the show is, revealing both sides of those double-edged swords, right?
Yeah.
People's personal lives and the different aspects that they have to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why the show is so beautiful, is because people are able to see a behind the scenes look at what others may go through that they've never experienced before in their life.
Right. And you pointed out a very interesting word. You said survival. How
Mhm.
does that feel to get into that specific emotion for Trisha's character? Because that's a very pinpointed thing that you have to try to spotlight for the series and for Trish herself.
I think it's just really understanding where she's coming from and building a story for her in my head. Like, okay, she grew up with not a lot of money. She doesn't want to go back to not having any money. She became a stripper show, so she's going to expose her body in order to get money. The end goal is money, and the end goal is to be okay. So, other than that, what can you do but be on survival mode constantly? And I don't even want to compare the two because they're not even near the same thing. But the best way I can understand it is being an actress and when is my next job coming? this is how I eat. This is how I feed my family. Am I going to book anything? What's going to happen? Am I going to be okay? We go, as actors, we go through that, especially if you're on the up and coming. And I'd like to think of myself as being up and coming. It's like, we don't know when we're going to get another job. We'd like to manifest it. We'd like to pray about it. But at the end of the day, we don't have a certain date. And I was able to take that feeling of being scared, like how I've been before, seeing that checking account balance go down. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And apply it to Trish. But hers is far more, severe than mine's. And that's really how I'm able to connect with her and build that story of being scared. And that's the place that she often operates on is defense mode, survival mode. Let me put on this mask. I'm going to be okay because nobody else is going to see me fall and cry because I'm going to get back up. And I also admire that about her, but it's also very sad because she doesn't always get a chance to feel vulnerable.
Right, exactly. So you're making those connections and it's portrayed beautifully on screen.
Thank you.
And we are all expecting the reveal of season 2, and it's going to be a very interesting and intricate combination of all these different themes and tropes in life. And thank you so much for taking part in this interview process today, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hello, how are you today?
Hi, Marita. I'm excited, grateful. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. Well, we are very eager and excited for the show's season 2 premiere. And is there anything that you can share about your character and what is to come for the show and any new changes that you can possibly share with all of us?
Ooh, well, there's a lot of changes coming up. So, and a lot, unfortunately, are spoilers. So y'all just gotta wait and watch. But specifically with Janelle, oh my goodness, I'm so excited for y'all to see her journey in season 2. As we know, in season 1, she was very guarded, very mysterious. We didn't really know what was going on with her until the season finale. And we kind of open up with season 2 the same way. She's very guarded, very mysterious. But see, I think that's exciting because it makes you want to be like, what is going on with Janelle? And I promise you, you won't have to wait for the season finale this time to find out. So just stay tuned.
There we have it. Hey, yeah, you definitely have to stay tuned. And yeah, you said a lot of new changes, so we will definitely keep an eye out for all of that. Is there anything that you would like to share about the experiences of being on set, filming this whole entire process of season 2 and what that experience was like for you?
Listen, Marita, anytime I'm on set, period, I'm just grateful. Like, I'm very blessed to be able to wake up now every day and do what I love to do, So when I'm on set, listen, I'm having the greatest time ever because I'm doing what I love. In between takes and stuff, us as a cast, we're like singing and dancing, it's a fun environment because, literally living the dream, and more importantly, we are telling a very important story, so I'm very, me personally as an artist, I'm very, very big on what is it that my art is saying? Why am I putting something, like, why am I involved in this? And the story and the message that we're trying to share with Blindspotting is so, so important. So I'm very grateful to be a part of this journey, and also specifically for Janelle, just who she is representing for the world in this show, as a brown skin chocolate sister, from who's rocking locks from the town. We don't really see that represented a lot on screen. So I'm just excited for you guys to see more of her. I'm excited for you guys to see more of all the characters. Like, all of our storylines have expanded a lot more in season 2. And it's just, listen, y'all just get ready because it's just going to be more crazy. It's just more crazy, more town, and something that I like to say is more heart. We've put a lot of more heart and love into this season, and I'm excited for y'all to see it.
Well, it sounds amazing. Yeah, we are definitely going to be looking forward to all those changes, all those surprises, and for that new story of what Blindspotting is going to be taking on for season 2. Can you share a little bit more about what that synopsis is?
Well, the synopsis, it's the same like with season one, where we're really focusing on Ashley Rose, played by Jasmine Cephas Jones, and how she is navigating this new life of hers without her partner, Miles, Rafael Casal. And season two picks up. It's been 9 months now since his incarceration, and how just him being gone for almost a year has affected not only her, but everyone around her, anyone that is close to Miles, So it's really just following all of us, just trying to figure out like, okay, how are these characters dealing with the loss, or the absence, if you will, of someone that they love and care about. So yeah.
No, beautifully explained, beautifully said. Yeah, and we will follow all of those character developments along, and it will be a beautiful process. And like you said, a lot of craziness. That's going to be very interesting to see it pan out.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I can't wait.
Well, it sounds like you had an amazing time filming the whole series, and that it's going to be going splendidly into the future. And we are all, like we said, very eager, excited, and it's going to be a wild ride for sure.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for taking part in this interview today, and we look forward to everything that's to come with your character, and we appreciate it all, Candace.
Thank you, Marita. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Hello, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good, Marita. How you doing?
Doing good. Likewise. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And we are doing the interviews based on Blindspotting Season 2 and your character playing into these big roles and these big themes that the show is tackling. We are talking about, big issues, including social justice, gentrification, women's roles in all of it, family ties and values. And I want to see your perspective on how you tackled playing your character and incorporating these big issues, and also your experiences while filming the season 2 for the series.
Yeah, the cool thing is it takes a village to make a thing, and so I don't have to tackle any of those things alone. And ultimately it's a love story. All those things are happening in the world because that is a reflection of the world we live in. But it's really a story about a woman and her partner and their kid and trying to figure that out. And so in that way, I think that keeps us really grounded. And I'm making shit with my friends. So from that vantage point, it's like, I couldn't have a better time. And I hope I get to keep making things with people who I really love and who I've had long-standing relationships with. So,
right. Yeah, you get to develop those characters as well as the actual relationships that you get to form on set. So it's the best of both worlds. And in terms of transforming those ties with the different individuals within the series, what has that transformation process been like for your character Earl?
I think transforming those ties has really been an exercise in paying attention and being present. I think that every performance I've ever watched that was moving to me, every relationship that transcended a moment and became another moment, they were always grounded in a particular level of presence. And so I think it becomes this practice of ongoing presence and sort of infusing yourself with the idea of change and being okay with change. So that was sort of what I think that experience was like.
Exactly. Taking it to the bottom points and really understanding the mission that you're trying to get across to the viewers and for the series as a whole. And what are those methods that you tried to and have gone into for getting closer to your character, getting closer to revealing all those different aspects and entities of the series?
A lot of undoing, a lot of getting out of the way. My misconception as a performer was always that I needed to put on a bunch of stuff, put on an accent, put on a look, put on a tone, put on muscle, put on put on certain clothing, put on an outfit. And some of those things can be necessary some of the time, but mostly I think it was stripping away all the preconceived notions and then just sitting in the truth of an experience, sitting in the truth of the language. He sits and he's sad. How do I interact with that? That's it. There's not, you can write that sentence into any script, any genre, any time. And it can look different and take different forms, but ultimately you have to get out of the way of yourself and just sit there and actually feel what that text is saying to you. So I think for me, preparation for this role was a lot of getting out of the way. It was a lot of undoing.
Right. It's a very interactive experience with that back-to-back feedback from not only you, but also from the other characters and individuals that you are working with. It's a very grounding experience, like you said, was a perfect way of encapsulating how you would go about this role. Are there any last quick final words on the rewards of taking on this character and portraying his mission?
I mean, I would say the coolest thing is the Stephanie Shepherds of the world, who works with Last Prisoner Project. To be able to sit and talk with Stephanie in particular and know that the work I did on this show was something that moved her or something that reflected her experience is the treat that you don't know you'll want when you're acting, because everything else can be fleeting, but that sort of sticks with you. It's like, oh, this person felt seen, normalized, humanized, because they are seen and they are human and it is far too normal. So I think that was probably the reward that I think I got out of playing this character.
Right. Well, it's definitely going to be portrayed when we watch the series for season 2, and we appreciate your time during this interview. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Marita. Have a good one.
You too. Hello, Helen. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Well, Blindspotter season 2 is up and running and it's going to come out very shortly. Is there anything that you would like to share on how you feel towards season 2 and what is to come?
Well, the first season was a beautiful experience, and I think the show is like so unique in that it's a laugh out loud, funny sitcom about something deep and meaningful with dance and spoken word. It's just, there's never been anything like it. All I can say is season 2 is like that, but honestly more. So if you like season 1 or if you haven't seen it yet, it's really worth giving it a try because it is just such a generous gift, I think, to an audience. You know, I'm a collaborator. I didn't make the show from scratch, so I can say you get a lot for your 30 minutes, you know, a lot of love and humor and intensity and art. It's just artists making art in all kinds of different ways to tell the story.
Exactly. It's like a beautiful expression of what it means to connect with people, to connect with those empathetic emotions, you know, what it means to essentially understand each other at the end of the day. Is there anything that you can explain and elaborate on towards the season's shift? We heard that there's going to be a lot of kind of crazy dramatic plot changes and emotions towards all of that. Is there anything else that you can share?
I mean, there's different styles, a lot of surprises, a lot of humor, a lot of anguish, a lot of love, you know, all those things are wrapped up in every episode in different ways.
Right, exactly. And for the characters, you know, to go along this journey and to make their relationships even stronger, maybe even to weaken some, any insights on future developments towards the series and what is to change?
I don't know. I hope we get a chance. I know that these guys will not take a single step towards season 3 until they know exactly what they want to do, how it's going to be expressed in a different way. There's a pretty big surprise at the end of season 2 that points towards some stories next year. So I'm sure they will find something wonderful.
Right, right. Yeah, we will all be looking forward for this future changes. And as you as a collaborator, I mean, how was that experience partaking in all of these amazing endeavors for the series?
It was wonderful. They're such a great group. I love them all. And Raf and David really know what they want and really want your input. So it's a good combination. You don't want someone who like, oh, I'm so sorry about that, who kind of caves to what you, should I start over so that's not in there? No, sorry about that.
You're totally fine. Yeah, you can start over.
Okay.
Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. So Rafa and David are beautiful writers who are this excellent combination of knowing what they want and wanting your input. If you have someone who just caves to what you say, that's not good. And if you have someone who has no collaboration or openness, that's not good. And they're just the best version of both.
Exactly. Just, yeah, perfect people to take on this position in the series and to drive that mission forward. You know, it's just an excellent combination of what you need and what everybody wants, right?
It has been for me. It's been like a dream job, to be honest.
Right. Well, a dream job. So for a collaborator in your position, what are the specific tasks that you got to take on for season 2, and even how that ties into the previous season 1?
Well, we just, sat down together, and they wanted to know what I was interested in exploring this year. I wanted to know what they were thinking about, and that really showed up when the scripts started coming in. I love how my character tends to be committed to the joy that's possible in a family, even when they're going through hard things. But I also thought it's time to really hear what's underneath all that, and they really gave me a beautiful chance to do that.
Right. And as playing the character Rainey, I mean, you are going through quite a few character shifts, and is there anything that the audience will be able to visually see in those drastic, changes in your personality in the show?
Yeah, there's poetry in the show. Characters turn and speak how they feel in poetry to the camera, and that's something my character does this year. There's a whole style shift in episode 6 that I can't even talk about, but everybody has to see. So they're very good at making surprises and being brave in terms of style.
Well, we will see that bravery pan out on the screen, and it's going to be a beautiful process. Everybody looks forward to Blindspotter season 2 premiering and coming out. And we thank you for your time for participating in Premiere TV interviews today. And I'm Marita Snyder with Bionic Buzz, speaking with Helen Hunt, who plays the character of Rainey in Blindspotter season 2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Atticus. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, this is all exciting for season 2 of Blindspotting, and we're eager to see how your character is going to develop in season 2. Is there anything that you can say towards all of that?
He like how he like gets better with his dad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he over time he gets more kind of like not really used to, but I don't know how he gets better really. He would. Well, he's going through a tough time, and that's why he just really misses his dad.
Exactly. Well, going through his dad and the whole prison process and all the family ties, how do you connect to those hard experiences, all the hard experiences that Sean is going through?
Well, usually I ask some questions, like when I'm on set, I like ask Rafa or David, I'm like, I have a question about this, and it makes me like understand it more.
Exactly. Yeah. So asking all those important questions towards your character as well as the other characters, right? And what is your most exciting experience or fun experience that you've had on set so far?
Oh, well, there's a Western scene, and we rode horses. and we did fake gunfights, which was really fun. And probably, the Western episode. It was really exciting.
Exactly. You got to go into a whole different world in a sense while still filming Blindspotting. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Are there any other experiences that you enjoyed while being on the set for Blindspotting?
Yes, actually. So, on one episode, on one thing that we did on an episode, so we were eating, and it was peanut butter and banana sandwiches, which was really good, and that was an amazing time.
Right.
Oh, and I like seeing the lighting people do their job, and the sound people do their stuff, and the camera people. It's just so cool.
Exactly. Yeah, you get to see everybody's job on set and what they get to do. And for season 2, is there anything that the audience can know about what Sean is going to go through?
He's going to go through lots of emotions, and he's trying to find a way to deal with it. And he gets a friend.
He gets a friend, right? So he's going to get some additional relationships, additional friendships. Is there anything else that you can reveal about what is to come?
Well, maybe Stars could tell you that.
Exactly. Well, you're having a great time on set, it sounds like. And filming those different numbers and the Western scene. And I heard there's some nuns and different experiences that the characters are going to go through. Are there any final words that you'd like to say about season 2 for Blindspotting?
Final words would be, it's different.
It's different. Well, we are going to anticipate all those differences, and it's going to be very interesting, and we will follow along what your character does, Sean, and how that ties into the whole family relationships, the prison system, while also being an amazing comedy, and we look forward to it. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Atticus.
Thank you.
And next over to Bionic Buzz.
Hello, yes. So Blindspotting takes on the very important topics of tackling the themes of gentrification, police brutality, sexism, family values, and many other controversial topics that the United States and individuals are still dealing with on their everyday basis. We were curious to see how you and your team tackled that and incorporated it into the series, as well as for your character, Ashley.
It's all a conversation ever since the beginning. It is a comedy at the end of the day, but all of these undertones of like these important issues and how we tell the story was really important. So it's like, how do we like shed light to all of these issues, but how we talk about it, that's not a drama. Like, how do you do that? And I think Rafael and David have really managed to kind of tell this story that is very outside of the box, that means something, but is also a comedy at the same time. I think a lot of it is mostly in the writing, and so, you get the script and we all do a reading of it, and then we kind of all talk about it. And if there's something that we don't understand or something that we don't agree with or that we want to discuss, it's a very supportive group. And we all know that we have that support. So when we do tackle these issues or something is really emotional, it is a safe space to kind of free fall and be allowed to go there with our emotion, or tackle these issues through what we do, as through acting. So I think
how we go about it, it's a very collaborative experience. And we are as a cast, I think we are heard, and we know that what we have to say is just as important and just as valued as the creators of the show.
I'll throw it to Marita next.
Yeah, so in Blindspotting, it reveals the misinterpretations of the justice system and the relationships that occur between family members and all of those aspects. For your position as Miles, as well as collaborating with the whole team, what was the direction that you guys took for elaborating on those relationships and revealing those like societal misunderstandings, and how to, show some solutions as well as add the art and the beauty into the show as well?
Yeah, I think in terms of like trying to present another narrative for people about the families of incarcerated loved ones, there's like two ways we come about like a misinterpretation, right? There's like a massive macro where there's like a public narrative about it and we just buy into it without questioning it. Or we have a lack of anecdotal evidence. And so we know one or two people that have gone through it and we base everything we know on those things. And if those things happen and they're not particularly favorable to those people, then we have this negative connotation of the prison system, who's in prison, who's at fault by people being in prison, how does that negatively affect families? And like, I think a lot of the show is about humanizing someone that you can love. You can both acknowledge that like everyone has faults, but that fundamentally this feels cruel and unusual to do to people. And so I think a lot of the show's goal, and politically and emotionally, is to get you invested in a group of people that immediately complicate all of your perceptions of the prison industrial complex and who it's affecting. And so I think the hope is when you're like watching the news and they're talking about, hey, there's 60,000 people incarcerated in California for cannabis still, like you think about Earl, like 60,000 Earls. And when you're watching the show, all you want is people to leave him alone. Leave him alone, let him go about his life. This is a good, decent, loving human being. And that's who's mostly in prison. When you start looking at the statistics of who is in prison, people are like, it's murderers and rapists. That's a very small percentage of people in prison. It's a lot of very stupid crimes that get people locked up for a very long time. And a lot of them are things that we don't even care about anymore, but we just haven't let people out of prison for them. And so I think for us, it's about providing counter narratives to a lot of the things that we were indoctrinated with growing up. When we think about who is bad and good in society, who is guilty and innocent, and putting a kinder face on those things, in a story like this. So, when you see families get ripped apart and somebody goes to prison, just know like there's a Sean somewhere, there's a little 7-year-old who is going to have to do visitations in a prison, and like that's going to have an effect on his life.
Beautifully said, exactly. Well, you guys are adding the morality back into uncovering the misunderstandings in these systems and relationships between these characters. In terms of Miles, what are we to see for his relationship growth and character development in the show for season 2?
I think a lot of season 2 is about acknowledging that like any time in prison, but certainly the 9 months that we're checking in on, has an effect on a person's mental and physical health, has an effect on the relationship. As episode 3 is this, they all go and visit and there's this like they're gonna play house, and that works for a little while. They can pretend that they're not in a prison, but Ashley walks in, there's 5 time checks throughout the night, nobody's getting decent sleep, there are guards with guns everywhere, there are certain conversations you just can't have in there, and ultimately like Miles is surrounded 24 hours a day by an extremely hostile environment, whether it's about the hostile nature of the inmates or just the hostile nature of the circumstances he's in, and inside of a prison that is engineered to be hostile and terrifying. And how does a person not in that environment and a person in that environment maintain an intimate, loving relationship? That's just, it's an unbelievable task, and yet they're attempting it. And so we think a lot about season 1 and 2, but I think it's really exemplified in season 2. We talk about myth a lot when we're writing, right? Like, can you reduce everything that we're doing down to like mythology that would work? For us, the show really is, it's just the Odyssey. It's just like suddenly there's a 10-year gap between them. and Ashley's got to find her way back to Miles, and on the other side, Miles has got to find her way back to Ashley. And you're realizing the closer they get to that time, they realize how much longer they have to go, right? Like, he's a 5-year sentence. 9 months they're fighting, it's rough, you know? But also the closer they get to coming back together, the realization that they're going to be such different people at that point, and they're going to have to choose each other again. And like, is Miles going to have enough of the old him left to be the person that he needs to be to Ashley? And is Ashley going to be enough of who she was? You know, because now she's going to have been a single mom essentially for 5 years. Those are fundamentally different people. And so I think that ends up being the question of Miles's arc is, on his side, how is he going to fare on his own as someone who loves his family but like isn't with them, you know?